Hey guys, Lexus Driver here. Now, the reason why I'm gonna be making this video because I'm just like everybody who just finished part one of the final season of Beastars. I am so pumped up of what's gonna happen next. But my I want to see what's gonna happen next once part two is released. Like my levels of wanting to watch part two of the final season of Beastars just went through the roof. And also another reason is not only like that, but what happened at the cliffhanger. I'm both excited and scared at the same time because we don't know what's gonna happen. But uh, I've been reading a lot of Reddit, and also there's been a lot of speculation that Legoshi is gonna die, or Legoshi is dead or something. But I want to clear this up I just want to clear this up for to the basic premise of my knowledge. For those who know about Beastars, FYI, I didn't read the graphic novels. I just watched the anime because the anime is much more cooler and much more action packed compared to the graphic novels. But on this video, what I want to clear up is all the speculations that Legoshi is dead. Like, is Legoshi dead? That's the question of what they're saying. So I want to clear this up with some proof. You know, I know the ending is a cliffhanger for part one. The only way we can find out if Legoshi survives is once part two is released. But as of now, part two is not released yet. But it's likely part two could be released probably in spring. As when the teaser was released, they say probably early, they would say early 2025. So that basically means January and February are too early, so it's likely March. But I'm pretty sure February they might make some more announcements of when will part two will be released. But anyways, in um, in the extent of my knowledge of what happened in the cliffhanger, I I would say Legacy will survive. Why? Because uh, when I watched every part of the episode of part one, including the final episode of part one of the final season of Beastars, I remember there was good foreshadowing in there's some good foreshadowing um, in the final season of Beastars. Why I have proof that there is foreshadowing because if you guys recall if you guys recall from if you guys recall from the um, if you guys recall from one of the episodes where Legoshi is at the bathhouse, he's in the bathhouse with Sagwan. Sagwan is the seal. Sagwan taught Legoshi the ocean language, and that's the best foreshadowing I can find as best I can, because when Sagwan taught Legoshi the ocean language, you thought that it's not going to be helpful for Legoshi, since Legoshi is a wolf, he's yeah, he's a land animal, a temperate forest animal. But when we see the cliffhanger, um, when we see the cliffhanger here, we see that Melon, the main antagonist of the final season of Beastar, Melon dumps Legoshi in the water and left him for dead. I didn't say Legoshi is dead. People would think that is Legoshi dead? The quick answer is no. I don't think Legoshi is dead. Melon just left Legoshi for dead. So um, why I would say Legoshi is left for dead? It's because I like to because I'm taking into account the foreshadowing of what happened in the bathhouse. Because in the bathhouse, Sagwan, the seal, and Legoshi's apartment neighbor, Sagwan, he taught Legoshi the ocean language, and I would say Legacy would use that ocean language to save his life. So you know, I like to take into account a lot of the foreshadowing in in movies and TV shows, because um, I've been knowing a lot of literary devices, like flashbacks and foreshadowings. The reason why I always take into account foreshadowings and flashbacks because this could make a huge impact on how the story is gonna go. So foreshadowing is basically what's happening that the character will eventually do something. It's like some sort of prediction. That's why it's called foreshadowing. Flashback, on the other hand, is basically it's basically like when a character recalls what happened in the past. That's why it's called flashback. So I like to say that part one of the final season of Beastars, there is really good foreshadowing in this series because Legoshi's left for dead. How is Legoshi gonna survive? Well, since Legoshi is dumped in the ocean into the ocean by Melon, it's highly likely. That Legoshi will use the ocean language he learned from Sagwan to save his life. But um, this one here, I'm gonna be. This is based on what I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure once part two is released, we see what really is gonna happen next. But what I'm thinking is, even if Legoshi uses the ocean language to save his life, because as I said, Legoshi is left for dead by Melon, and then after being dumped into the water, Legoshi would use the ocean language to communicate with the sea animals, and thus the sea animals will save his life. Even though even though the sea animals would save his life, I'm pretty sure Legoshi would be washed up in the at the beach, and then someone would call an ambulance or call 911 to get Legoshi medical attention, and I'm pretty sure once Legoshi is sent to the hospital, you know uh, when it comes to the mafia, like for example the Shishigumi, when it comes to the mafia, like when if one of their if one of their guys got hurt, they can't go to a hospital because the first thing the hospital does after they get treated is call the police. Because for my viewers who actually played Mafia 2, I've seen the walkthroughs and the playthroughs and whatnot. Uh, when Henry Tomasino said about a guy named El Greco. El Greco is the mob doctor. Um, Henry Tomasino said. Yeah, he said he's the guy you go to when you can't go to the hospital. And then Vito questions, why wouldn't you go to the hospital? And then Joe Barbaro, Vito's best friend, Joe Barbaro says, because you go to the hospital with a bullet wound in you, or any other wound or any other injury from a criminal activity, the first thing they do is call the cops. So that's why, in the mafia, if one of their guys got hurt, they can't go to a hospital because after they get treated, the next person that's going to show up is the cops. So basically, when it comes to organized crime, the mafia would usually have a doctor, and they would pay the doctor to get treatment. So Legoshi, on the other hand, Legoshi after he was dumped in the water, this is how I think in my head. After Legoshi is left for dead, as he's dumped into the water by Melon, um, Legoshi would use the ocean language he learned from Sagwan to communicate with the sea animals, and eventually that would save his life. But eventually he would be washed up at the beach, and would be suffering a dangerous amount of blood loss, a dangerous like he would be bleeding heavily, like he'd be losing a dangerous amount of blood, and then someone whom Legoshi doesn't know or does know comes across, they would call 911 or the ambulance. The ambulance shows up. They take Legoshi to the hospital, and and I would say the hospital would call the police because as how the hospital works, this is really how what hospitals do. Hospitals, if they receive a patient who has injuries from a criminal activity, the first thing the hospital does is call the police. The reason for that is so that way the police can, if they're involved in an investigation or something sinister is happening, then the hospital has to let the police know. So I would say that, that's basically how I think of what's going to happen once Legoshi is rescued after he was left for dead. He's going to be taken to the hospital, and the first thing the hospital does is call the police because Legoshi. He obviously has wounds and scars from criminal activity. So that's basically like what I think it's gonna what I think it's gonna happen once Part 2 is released. Legoshi is dumped in the water. Legoshi is left for dead after Melon dumped him in the water. Legoshi uses the ocean language Sagwan taught him to save his life. He gets washed up at the beach. Someone who Legoshi knows or is not familiar would find Legoshi, call 911 or the ambulance. The ambulance shows up. Takes Legoshi to the hospital, and the hospital discovers that Legoshi has injuries from criminal activity, and they would call the police. So that's just to clear it up that I strongly believe Legoshi is not dead. He's just left for dead. But let's see what's gonna happen next once Part 2 is released. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. I know this video is kind of short or something, not as long as the other videos or something, but this is relatively short, just like my previous video when I talked about Lexus. But I just want to keep it as short as possible, and this is just to clear up all the speculation that Legoshi is dead. I will say that Legoshi is left for dead. He's not dead. He's just left for dead. I know it's a cliffhanger. Let's just see how how it will go once Part 2 is released. But I hope you guys can figure it. I hope you guys would see it once Part 2 is released. So. Once again, Legoshi is left for dead after Melon dumped him in the water. Legoshi uses the ocean language he was taught by Sagwan. He gets washed up at the that saved his life. He gets washed up at the beach. Someone finds Legoshi, calls 911 or the ambulance. The ambulance takes him to the hospital, and then the hospital calls the police after they find wounds from a criminal activity. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, and be sure you guys hit that notification bell so that way you can stay updated on what I have on my YouTube channel. And also, if you like this video and you believe that you believe of this proof that Legoshi is left for dead because there's some good foreshadowing in Part 1, don't forget to hit that like button. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, and have a good day, everybody.